I think this is just another one of the scare things when you say words like cloned and...
Yeah, but Duncan, you can never be too careful, can you?
Oh, look, I mean, I tend to agree with Jeff. I think it's a bit of a beat-up, to be honest. And yeah, while the words cloned and things like that sound bad, like it may be perfectly okay to eat.
Right, okay. Well, moving on to another issue in the biosecurity area, the Pukekohe scientist who was sentenced earlier this week for illegally importing the mirid bug. Was this it's a pretty harsh sentence. Was it harsh enough based on the fact that it is obviously a lesson to anyone out there who might be looking to carry out a similar action?
Yeah, look, it depends on a lot of factors, and the scientist, and you know, if she's a young scientist, it's the home detention's pretty harsh. She's not allowed out, but if she's married with children, it's probably not too bad.
They're happy to have her at home.
Yeah. Look. I mean, all jokes aside, I think that this raises other issues in terms of what MAF are doing to eradicate or to get some programs in place to help the industry battle these insects and bugs that are out there.
Right. What do you think, Jeff?
I just think it's intriguing, the links that people will go to do something that, if the person who did it thought laterally, the ramifications of that are enormous. I mean, how many other people are doing these sort of things? It's like when they imported the Khaleesi virus, these farmers in the South Island.
Yes, which was absolutely illegal, but they had a lot of public support behind them, didn't they?
It still doesn't make it right.
No, absolutely not.
Still doesn't make it right. You've got border security for a reason, otherwise you wouldn't have it. And for someone to knowingly take something that they knew was a banned insect or whatever, just beggars belief.
Well, moving on to a subject or a name that comes up on this program most every week, Alan Crafer. His lawyers resigned, but he's still maintaining that he's got the funding to put in a bid, possibly to buy back his farms. What do you think, Duncan?
I think fat chance, to be honest. Look,
well said.
Yeah, I've, you know, I mean, not long before all the farms went into receivership, he put down a deposit of $1 million on a property that was around about $10 million. He couldn't come up with the extra money for that, and so he lost that deposit. And that was probably a year ago.
That's a sign of things to come.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Jeff?
I just wish somebody would buy it. I don't care anybody. And go away and we can get to do some real stories.
But you'd have nothing to write about in Straight Forward, would you?
I'm sorry, I haven't really written about it in Straight Forward. That's enough over the rest of the media. I think the latest development, I mean, there seems to be a development every day. The latest development today is that 2 of the Chinese people involved in the company to buy it are now both facing corruption charges. So where does it start and where does it end? And, you know.
Well, moving on, the New Zealand dollar, suggestions being made on Morning Report the other day that it could possibly be hitting 80 cents US. You're looking horrified, Jeff.
That's so terrifying. I mean, for all the effort that, especially farming people, but not other people, small exporters. I know, I'm involved in small exporting, and every day the dollar goes up like that, we just think, well, you know, where's our margin gone? It can go out the window overnight.
Yeah, what do you think, Duncan?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, high dollars, you know, just ruin us at this time with you know, with the myriad of other issues on there. I think we're at about 72 cents at the moment. If it goes, you know, 6 cents higher, that's almost $100,000 at the farm gate for the average farmer. Personally, I don't really see the dollar going to 80 cents. Although, look, I'm no expert, and you know, we can't do this. It's largely driven from the US, what their economy's up to. They've just put some more stimulus into the economy just overnight due to things looking a bit weaker, but the Dow Jones has been on an upward trend. So there's some divergence in the opinions.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see, as always. And now moving on to New Zealand Farming Systems Uruguay. There was a suggestion today from the company that investors shouldn't be looking at just selling to Olam. What do you make of this, Duncan?
I think that's very much kind of standard procedure. The target company will always wait, or will always issue that that warning, so to speak, until the independent report comes out, which is due in a week or so. And New Zealand Farming Systems Uruguay will have a target company statement then. They're not happy with a few of the comments from Olam in the media, and so they'll have a chance to redress that then.
Jeff, a lot of investors, they'll just be happy to quit their shares and get out of it, won't they? It hasn't performed very well for them.
That's another sorry saga.
Absolutely.
Another sorry saga. People growing too big too quick, and where's it all going to stop?
Yeah, we've certainly seen plenty of that happening. Yeah. Coming up after the break, we give praise or box the ears of those in the rural community who've caught our attention this week. Stay with us to find out who's in the limelight. Now it's on to you beauty, praise or abolishing, the opposite. Jeff, I think you've got a bit of the opposite today, haven't you?
Well, I'd just like to ask the question of anybody, what's happened over these dawn raids that occurred in Southern, the dairy farmers who were dragged from their sheds in the dark and stood outside in the yard while MAF did its thing. There were no objection to MAF doing inspections and so forth, but I was at the meeting of Feds in Invercargill where the people were so upset and there was outrage and harsh words between Southern people and David Carter, and he went away and said, we're going to have a full report on all this.
And the Minister hasn't come back with anything as yet?
No. Nothing has happened.
I think there was a suggestion made that it was perhaps just one individual who might have taken things a bit far. Has there been any suggestion that that was the case?
My understanding, there are at least 26 submissions being prepared.
Oh, right, yeah.
From different farms, so it's not just.
And will they have reached the Minister as yet, or?
I don't think they've gone that far. I think they're being prepared by Feds as a submission.
Because certainly David Carter gave his assurance at Federated Farmers conference, didn't he, that he was going to treat this issue with a lot of. He was going to get clarity on the matter and really push it through, but you're saying that hasn't happened.
I don't think he had any choice. He was under fire. I've never seen a minister as under fire as that, and he was really besieged and very, very upset.
Okay, and I believe you've got perhaps another bollocking that's offshore bollocking rather than deep in the heart of Southland.
Not so much a bollocking, but I'm, like a lot of people, I'm very concerned as to what's happened over the FTA negotiations with the GCC in the Middle East. I happened to be in the Middle East at the time of the disastrous trade delegation. I wasn't part of it, but I was there. And at that time, it was supposed to be for the signing of the FTA agreement. John Key wasn't able to go because of the crash of the helicopter.
That's right.
The people in the Middle East they like authority, and they were all prepared for Prime Minister. When they got Tim Grosser, they felt that they were getting the booby prize. And the negotiations went along in that frame. But they've come away with nothing, and we hear nothing about it. We move on to another.
Because, Duncan, this was certainly trumpeted beforehand as being a very important deal for us. Obviously, there'd be a lot of exporters who'd be very concerned if things have been shown to lag behind what was hoped for.
That's right, and you know, it'd be interesting to know what will be a fly on the wall at New Zealand Trade and Enterprises offices at the moment, and I'm sure there's a few aggrieved people. I don't know I don't know the ins and outs of what went wrong.
But presumably they'd be banging on the door asking exactly the same question as Jeff.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, Duncan, I understand you've also got something this week.
Well, yeah, we talked just off air briefly about the SFO inquiry into Alan Hubbard, and that's not a bollocking or a praise because we don't know yet, but it's going to be one or the other, I think. Very interesting remarks that were reported this morning. Has the SFO got anything yet? You're reading between the lines. It sounds like, or it's there are suggestions that it could have been involved in a kind of hunting expedition and may well not come up with enough ammunition.
Yeah, but they chose the wrong person to do that too, did they not? And that Alan Hubbard is elderly, he's got health problems, and he's very well respected in his local area. Yeah, well, that'll be that's the main issue. I think if they don't get him, then there's going to be a huge amount of opposition to this, but there's still quite a bit of smoke coming. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Well, I have a bollocking yet again, a Chinese milk tainting scandal. We don't need any more of these. The suggestion that Fonterra might be, is certainly supplying some powder to the company, but they don't know whether their powder is actually involved. New Zealand dairy industry well off out of any suggestion of being involved. Well, that's all we have time for this week. Thanks to my guests, Duncan Bridgeman of National Business Review and Straight Furrow editor Jeff Smith. And thanks to you for watching. Please email your comments to country99tv.co.nz. Check out my blog there, and we'll see you next week.